because I'm excited about her coming on. And I want to tell you a little bit about her before she comes on. She's a mental health advocate. She empowers women to trust themselves, be authentic, and embrace their own path. She is a certified traveling beauty professional who believes indulging women in glamour as a positive and effective coping strategy for combating mental health declines. She is a volunteer at the East Harris County Empowerment Council. She continues to educate, empower women with her various programs. So let us please welcome to the show Miss Australia Edinborough. Hey, how are you?
Good evening.
Oh, thank you.
Great and grateful.
Oh, bless you, bless you, bless you. How are you? Let me just put up, we got some little comments happening up and up here. Put it up there. Keep pressing. Thank you, darling. You know, I got to put it up whatever they say. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I am grateful. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to
Oh,
be here.
thank
To be
you.
here, my
It's a
experience.
pleasure. It is a pleasure. I want to thank you so much. So I just gave a little introduction, but you basically just tell me a little bit more about yourself.
So I am a mental health advocate. I like to say self-care and mental health, they go hand in hand with each other. Um, and I am a professional makeup artist. And I like to call myself a serial volunteer because I like to volunteer in the community when I have time and, help those that are less fortunate. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I just want to say, first of all, that you are looking very enchanted on this evening. The background, everything.
Well, let me thank you, Sugar. You know how we queens do it, honey. Woo, let me take a little sip of that one. Sip, sip. Mm. Go
And
ahead, girl.
I was just listening to your conversation earlier and how you were talking about, September is an awareness month for
It
a
is.
lot of things. And one of them is self awareness. So um, I am going to share some tips with you guys on 5 ways that how you can boost your self awareness, just in honor of the theme month. It is also suicide prevention month
Mhm.
as well. It is a lot of things going on. So there's a lot to learn is how I like to look at that. It's a lot to learn. So I want to share a story with you. And that story is, how I got started into being passionate about, mental health. It started from my own experience. I had over a decade ago, I was a new mother, working full time, going to school full time. And I was in a toxic relationship. But most importantly, after I had, birthed my son, I noticed that I wasn't feeling like myself. I found myself in a dark place. I was just stressed out and overwhelmed with the circumstances that I was dealing with at that time. And I was so overwhelmed with that to the point to where I had became suicidal. So I had reached out to a friend and, let them know what it was that I was thinking about doing. And then they started talking to me and just saying like, you really sound like you're depressed. Like this is not like you. And I never looked at it that way. I mean, yeah, when you're pregnant, you get the pamphlets and things like that. They give you the informational books and things of that nature. But um, I just, didn't acknowledge that. So when I, started to educate myself more about mental health and depression, then I learned that I was dealing with postpartum depression. And after I had that conversation with my friend that night, we prayed and talked it over and everything. I had decided to take health into my own hands, my healing process into my own hands. So I started to educate myself on what it was that I was dealing with, the warning signs. And I started, using practical self-care measures to, address the improvements that needed to happen within myself. And I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about mental health and the liberation that came from, the empowerment that I had to, find within myself,
Yes.
made me want to share that with other people, let alone women. Because for one, as women, we have it rough. You know, there are a lot of standards that we have to follow that are unrealistic, and also being a mother. And I'm both of those things. So I wanted to, share my experience with other women that I come in contact with. And through my healing, I've, adapted the enthusiasm of, making, beautifying, edifying my beauty by makeup. I believe that it is, it serves like as a mask of confidence, because like when you look good, you feel good and you perform good, right?
Oh,
It's
yes, yes,
nothing like
yes,
a bold lip that makes you feel confident. There's nothing like a eyeliner that makes you, helps you, focus and feel better about your day. And makeup has done that for me and other women that I came across. I first started as a Mary Kay consultant. I was offered the opportunity to be a
yes.
Mary Kay
Mary
consultant.
Kay.
Yes, everybody then did Mary Kay.
Mary Kay was the thing back in the day.
Yes. So that gave me access to women from all walks of life. And whenever I would, have my time with these women, the experience is what was rewarding for me. And it helps me thrive still, even to this day, because we talk about our experiences. We talk about, challenges that we face. And we also share, tips and resources and stuff like that. So that for me, that moment is a moment to educate and raise awareness about the mental health things that I was talking about earlier. And so after I faded out with mental health with Mary Kay, I was like, I want to kind of do my own thing, which led me into start my own company, which is the name Persuaded Beauty, because I feel like I am beautiful. I have to tell myself that, on days that I don't feel that. And I had to persuade myself in order to, get to the point to where I am now. So that is where the name Persuaded Beauty come from. And I know that there are women that, deal with some similar challenges, on their paths and find strength to empower themselves, no matter what. So I wanted to have a name that, represents the everyday woman, the Persuaded Beauty.
Lovely. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I
So
talked a lot.
I love it. I mean, you use cosmetology as one of the a strategy to help women empower themselves. You also educate. You've also been, like you said, a victim of a trauma, which you just explained. Now, you've also done, I know, within your various. How is that empowered and helped women? Like, what some of the tips, like you said, that you have done to get women, who've been through something similar to what you've been through?
So for me, I just took basic common practices to help with healthy formulation, such as journaling, being able to write down your observations emotionally is a great way to scale, your progress and your triggers and, how you respond to certain situations. It sounds very elementary, but it is very essential. And it is a proven method and tool to help you grow. Um, Another one, like I mentioned before, is the makeup. It's very simple. I feel like, when you look good, you feel good, you perform good. So that helps with that. Um, and it kind of goes into what I'm going to share, like with my 5 ways to boost your self awareness. So I guess I'll just go ahead and go into that,
Go
which is
ahead.
the first one that I had stated was, writing down your emotional observances, by journaling. Write what you want to do and track your progress. A second tip is, getting feedback from trusted sources, and even regularly at work, because you want to observe, your behaviors and things of that nature and how you respond to certain situations. So that was something that I had to do. And I feel like that's important, when you can get feedback, because there may be some things that another eye can see that you may not necessarily see, if that makes sense. So it's healthy to get feedback. Um, Also, paying attention to your triggers. I mean, it's important to know like what triggers you. It could be something, from a past trauma, a situation, a relationship that you had, or a particular experience where you were disappointed that maybe triggers you to have a certain attitude, when a certain situation approaches. So, just acknowledging that and paying attention to that and working on how you can improve that is a way that you can, formulate those healthy methods.
Okay.
Also, another thing is doing a SWOT analysis. And this is a great way to boost your self awareness as well. A SWOT analysis means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So
Okay.
basically, you would kind of just sit down, write it on a piece of paper. Like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are some opportunities of where you can grow? And then what are your threats?
Mm.
So doing that often or periodically,
Mhm.
helps you to grow and to, be aware of how you're interacting and how you're, showing up in your environments.
Mm. Nice.
And then the the last tip I have for also, boosting your self awareness and, boosting your mental health awareness is just learning a new skill. Um,
Interesting.
you'll learn that, you know, I don't know about you, but sometimes change is not always comfortable, but it
Well,
is essential because, it's going to happen. You can't
yeah.
escape it. Life is about change and things of
Mhm.
that nature. So learning something new is always a great way to get you out of your comfort zone and, help sharpen yourself.
That's wonderful. I was listening, and you said something that triggers. I don't know. My ex-husband triggers me off. Does that mean I've got a mental something? I got a mental problem because every time he triggers me off, I'm just like, all right, and that sure. And I gotta get a new skill. I'm thinking, I like crochet. But all those things that you're saying, and I like the fact that you empower women and you make them feel beautiful, because when women are going through situations, or they don't feel beautiful, or they feel they've been through a trauma, or they feel like their self-esteem has dropped, making them feel glamorous is also a very wonderful way of making them say you are beautiful,
Yeah,
because in some of these relationships, I know they are being um, verbally abused, and the verbal abuse, is, I think, is one of the worst abuses that there is out there, um, and that, because it messes so much with your mental,
right,
you know, when someone keeps telling you you're nothing, you're not beautiful, you're not strong enough, you're not looking good enough, what I'm saying? You're too
right.
dark, you do this, you do that. And I like how you empower them and you educate. And it stems from you having a personal, when someone has a personal experience, it hits, it resonates even more so than anything else. You know what I mean? It's like giving birth and someone who's just adopted, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
when you give birth, you went through that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
they don't. It's not that they're not a mother. It's just that they have never given birth. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's what trauma sometimes is to me. When you've been through it, you can afford to do like what you're doing. And I can only imagine. I speak to people, like I'm in various groups and stuff, and I can only imagine what it feels like, because I've never really been through anything that to that extent. If you understand what I'm saying, you
Mhm.
know. When even you're faced with certain things that I just deal with it on a different level, shall I'm
Right.
just like,
Right. And we all do.
and not everybody's that strong, wanna tell me what is what is one experience you've had with with women, that you've been with, and have you ever had someone that was at a point, and you just turned her around, like in your class, that she was just like, wow, I feel more liberated, I feel so much better. Have you had those stories? Have the results been good?
I have a few of those stories, and those are rewarding and cherishable as well because like I said, I know what it feels like to feel at your lowest, to feel like you're nothing.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like. So to see someone go through that transformation
Yes.
is something that constantly reminds me to keep going and keep doing this as well because we need it. We need it, especially in our community, the Black community. We need it. We need it so much more than what it's, always highlighted to be, in the media. Like we really need it. Like, I'm here for you. I mean this. I don't have to know you to want more for you or to want good for you. I don't have to know you. I don't have to have a history with you in order to, want to wish you well. Like, I don't get into all those politics. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, yes.
I do my part in protesting per se, by being the change that I want to see. So
Right.
it's important, to have these conversations and create these spaces where we can talk about topics like this, because especially with what's going on in the world, we are all experiencing, or in being triggered and
Yes.
being triggered by trauma nowadays. It's everywhere. And we have to have these conversations, like I said, where we can talk and be open and be, you know, supported in how we feel and not judged.
And yeah, and mental health is something I'm glad I had you on, because mental health, guys, is something that's real. And you see it even on social media. Child, you saw that, you see Tamar, just saying. And it's not just with her, it's just that, it's with so many people that's been going through, a kind of a mental health situation, that some of them have been able to check themselves in. Some of them have been, you know what I'm saying? And it's happening all over. Like, a lot of people right now are going through a lot of mental health issues in one way or the other. So, I know you're a part of East Harris Empowerment Council.
Yes, I am. I am part of East Harris County Empowerment Council. We are a nonprofit organization that seeks to transform lives by connecting individuals, other communities, and corporations, and things of that nature. So I've been a volunteer with them for a little over a decade. And I love it. I have grown professionally and personally since I've been affiliated with this nonprofit organization. And it has been a great experience. So I'm actually proud to say that I changed from a volunteer to the administrative and coordinator and special projects coordinator at the organization. So I'm part of the team, and I'm excited about that. But I wanted to go back to what you were saying right before you had asked me that question, because I had wanted to share some stats with you guys, because like she said, it's a lot of people that are going through a lot of things in the world. So a couple of stats that I have, and this is data that you can find on mental health america.com. They have the new data that for 2020 on there, and this is where I'm getting this information from. So it says that 18.57% of adults are experiencing a mental health illness. That's equivalent to 45 million Americans. Also,
Wow.
right now, every 1 in 5 adults right now is suffering in silence with some type of mental health challenge or mental health illness that they are unaware about. When it comes to our youth, 13% of our youth ages 12 to 17 have been reported suffering from at least one major depressive episode in the past year. And they're looking at, childhood depression to be more persistent in adulthood if it's gone untreated. But
Yeah.
because of the stigmas that are associated with mental health, this is why we don't talk about things. And it's
Yeah.
like, how do you know how to address it or how to combat it if we don't talk about it or if you aren't aware of it? Prevention can happen at any stage in your life.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen like right when you find out that there is a certain, or a major issue that's going on. So this is why I decided to be an advocate, because I wanted to, get in spaces and create spaces where we can have safe conversations like this and share resources and tips on how to, be your best self, because like you said, everyone is going through something. You just don't know what it is that they're
What
going
goes
through.
through? Yeah.
You can be
And
triggered by anything.
yes. And you're saying that, and we have one of the listeners are saying, and that is keeping them securing. They're suffering in silence, and is what we fear comes to pass as a result of this suicide. And she's just
Right.
we just put it up, and she's so right. And it is a conversation, she said earlier on, that we're so free to have, about mental illness, mental health. It's just mental illness is real, and it affects us in all different types of ways. It really, it really does, and there's one listener that's saying she's currently in recovery, And
Praise
that listener,
yes.
Miss Maria Dixon, and that is awesome that you can even say that here, that because you have addressed it and you're supporting, my support with you on that, because and thank you so much for even just sharing that, because mental illness is real, and we
It's
don't,
real.
like you said, we don't talk about it, but it is real, and it's affecting a lot of us in our community, especially in our Black communities.
And our
Um,
children,
and our children, especially
you
in the, it's really affecting us really, really, and we need to address it and get the help that we need to get. But I'm definitely, we have to have you back on here again, where
yeah,
we need you to be, to come back on here. And I love to have these conversations. I really do, because it's just one of the things, and she's saying here, and to be honest, recovery is a shaky word used, because of course you can suffer from a relapse, if the support systems are not there. And and she's so right with that. If you don't have support, and that's what you were just saying, she's basically saying the same thing. If the support system is not there, and the right infrastructure in place to address it, and she's so right about that. And we and this is something that I'm glad that you're addressing, and that you're giving tips on, and how we can tell that it can be addressed. And is there any websites or anything that can be, that can be, we can know about, we can, that you're affiliated with, that we can, everyone needs help, because everybody, some people need this help and they're just afraid, or they're embarrassed, or and if it is anonymous, that they can especially get that help that they need, because it's real out here. It is real.
real.
um
It's really
yeah,
real.
it's real out here. What are some of the sites that you have where they can
So
get
there
information?
are
Yeah.
some resources. There is actually a personal resource that is on the line. Her name is Thesha. She said, "Evening, hey Thesha." She's my coach. She is actually an emotional intelligence coach. So she, talks about she does a lot of the SWOT analysis and things of that nature, and self-awareness and being bold and having a bold mindset. But you can go onto my website. There are resources there. Edinborough.com is the website name. You would go to my mental health directory, and there will be hotlines, prevention hotline numbers there. Excuse me, there will also be like my personal recommendations of coaches, therapists, and counselors are on my website that you can seek help from. I also have a free mental health evaluation on my website. Speaking of those free evaluations, it takes about 10 or 15 minutes. It'll ask you some questions, and then it will help you determine if you are experiencing, a type of challenge with that. And if you are needing further support, I can definitely help you with that. I want to reiterate that I'm a mental health advocate. I'm not a counselor, therapist, or any of those things, but I can direct you to those individuals that can help you, get through your challenges with a plan, because that's all that counselors and therapists are. They are accountability partners, professional accountability partners that can help you work through your challenges with the plan. So please check that out, Edinborough.com. You can also find Mental Health America, as I stated earlier. They have a website, and they have a lot of them. I'm sorry, my mind is just kind of going
It's
right now.
okay.
Suicide Prevention Hotline, you can find them as well. It's called the Suicide Prevention Hotline.com. There is information on there on how to coach and how to talk to people, what questions to ask if you feel like you're experiencing someone that is dealing with suicide, or if you yourself are dealing with that. There are options, and there's a hotline. There are people waiting to support you through these stages. So just know that the support and help is there. There
Yeah.
are people that are waiting to support you. So
To help
please do
you
not
and
feel like
support
you are
you.
alone. If you are watching this episode tonight and you are feeling deep down inside that you do not want to be here on this earth, I want to tell you that you are needed, you are loved, and you do not have to go through this alone. So please, please seek some extra support.
Yes. Yes. And can you, before you go, can you, well, when you get off, also send, text it in so it can, it can be up, like how I'm putting up information here. And I can also have it up on there, and send it to me inbox so I can put it up on the show, before, when, even when the show ends, I can still have it on the website, that information on the Facebook page as well. All right. So I want to thank you so much. I thank you so much for just being here. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for, oh my gosh, it's been so much information that we've had here. It's wonderful and I love it. Thank you so much. And we're gonna have you back on here again. Definitely. We're gonna have you back on here again because we need you. A breathtaking. It's wonderful that to see that you continue doing what you're doing, and just know that we need people like you out here. And without people like you, if we don't have people like you, then what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? And uh, just to let people know they're loved, they're supported, and there is support. There is support out there. There is support out there for this. All right. So thank you so much. We have to run, I know, but
Thank
it's been
you.
so wonderful having you on here, my queen. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you
Thank you.
to the watchers.
Yes.
Thank you, Dee.
And you
Thank
can
you.
stick around, obviously, can before the show, we gonna have after we have the next guest, and you've got a hot topic coming up. We got some more stuff going on here on Night Chat, sugars. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. This is Miss Austria Edinburgh. Thank you so much, darling. Peace, love, and blessings.
Thank
Bye
you. Grace and
bye.
gratefulness. Mhm.
Listen,